The world is changing. We have a new president, natural disasters, layoffs. Nothing is the same, and you're unsure of what to do with your finances. In this video, I'm going to share 10 strategies to help you go from worried and concerned to encouraged and confident on this wealth building journey. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe now, and then hit the notification bell while you're at it so that you can be notified every time I share a new video related to financial wisdom and insights pertaining to the wealth building journey of Black women in STEM. If you are new to my channel, first of all, welcome. Thank you for coming by and stopping through. I hope what I share is helpful. I am a career changer. I changed careers over 20 years ago. I was an electrical and computer engineer. Once an engineer, always an engineer, right? So I graduated from The Ohio State University, and I changed careers over 20 years ago because I wanted to do my part in closing the wealth gap. Now I am on a mission to help 100 Black women in STEM really go from a place of feeling frustrated, stuck, not knowing what they don't know, to getting to a place of having that peace of mind and clarity and confidence when it comes to their financial freedom and security. And that way they can make the contributions that matter most to them here in this world. Now let's take a moment to talk about the 10 strategies that I mentioned we're gonna go through, especially when it comes to dealing with this world of change. We've got the new president, we have layoffs, we have so many things moving and shaking, and natural disasters, just so many things that it just feels like there's no way. How can we continue to keep our eyes and our minds focused on our financial freedom and security when all these things are coming at us? So I want to share 10 strategies to keep you focused no matter what. The first thing that I want you to think about, and I talk about this in our exclusive members only Wealth Gap Closers Method community, and that is to first think about the life, imagine the life that you want. Think about who you're with, think about what you're doing. And a lot of times I tell people, just go to your older self. So if you can think ahead, like to age 70 or 90, think ahead and then look back. Look back over your life. Imagine yourself at 90 years old, looking back over your life, looking back over, like, what did I accomplish? What did I do? What did I not get to do? What are the things that I'm most proud of? And write all that down. Now, some people I've found, they can't look that far ahead. It's just too much. Like, you just based on your experiences and how you've experienced life, you just think that's just too far off. Well, for you, and even for the ones that can envision a far off, I want you to really look at the next 90 days. Think about, go to your calendar actually, pick the date, 90 days from today, and what are you doing on that 90th day? How did things look? What did you accomplish? What did you not accomplish? What are some things that you can improve upon? What are some areas of development? What are some wins? What are some successes that you had? What does that look like, especially when it pertains to your wealth building journey? So take a moment to do that. And then as you're doing that, thinking about that, go ahead and write it down. Go ahead and write it down. Because when you write it down, that's going to help you to really get it ingrained and even create that mental picture that you need. Because our imaginations are powerful. So go ahead, write it down. Take a moment to do that. That's strategy number one. Because what you're going to do from there is you're going to be able to see, oh, this is a part of my why. This is what I want to do. This is what I need to focus on no matter what. When you think about a 90-year-old, think about it for a moment. What are all the life changes they've been through? They probably had been through wars, several changes of presidents, deaths, births, marriage potentially, divorce potentially, all types of things, promotions, maybe a demotion. I mean, they've been through a lot, right? And what it's going to do is it's going to help you really think about your resiliency and the resiliency that you have inherited from so many people that have come before you, your ancestors. Look at the people that are ahead of you, like your elders. They've been through a lot and they're still here today, and you can have that same experience. So think about it from that perspective. And I'll also add, once you do that, take it and break it down into bite-sized chunks, because like I said, you've envisioned, okay, 90 days from now, what is life looking like? When I look backwards, what did I accomplish? Then also break down the steps, break down all the things that you did into bite-sized chunks. And then starting today, start to do the things that you need to do to make that happen and to make what you've imagined come to pass. Now for number 2. Number 2 is what I'm going to call understanding your values. We all have a moral compass. We all have just things that we believe in, right? And those would be our values, and they drive us to make decisions, whether that be about our life, pertaining to our career, pertaining to our family, pertaining to our money, and how we spend it. I think I want to kind of connect it to that today, because our values have to be or should be in alignment with the financial decisions that we make. Focus on that as well in these types of times and the times that we're in, where things are changing. I mean, even DEI, that is like a bad word now, right? And so when you think about your spending and you think about the businesses you support, the causes that you support, reevaluate or redo or revisit your values, and make sure that your values align with your spending. Focus on that. Reevaluate. Look at your spending habits. What are you supporting? Because I'm thinking about the Bible verse, where your treasure is, that is where your heart will be also. So it makes me think about the fact that our values, the way that we spend our money, what we support with our funds, that all plays a part in how we want our money to work for us, want our money to do the things that we want it to do as we make contributions to society. So reevaluate that too in these types of times. That also makes me think about the number that I've heard and seen in various resources, that the spending power for the Black community is like $1.3 trillion. That's amazing. And it also makes me think about the bus boycotts during the civil rights movement, and those times when that dollar and where that money was going caused some meaningful change to happen. And so you need to think about that. Think about where your dollars are going as you're spending. And it might make you curb your spending. It might make you not spend in areas that you thought were super important. And maybe you realize, wow, now that I look at my values again, it's not that important anymore. What I'm going to do as well is I have a values exercise. If you've never done that before, feel free to look in the comments or the description area, and I will put a link so that you can do the values exercise. And I tell people just do it on a PC and pick your top 10 values. That's what it's going to help you do. And then evaluate that, look at the top 3, and start to make decisions based on your values. Now, for those of you who decided to do the values exercise, or if you already know your values, feel free to comment below, like, what are your top 2 values? I would love to know more about that. And if you are already aligning your spending with your values, share that below too. So the third strategy that I think is super important to employ, especially in times like this, is your cash flow planning. Make sure you evaluate and reevaluate, reassess. What does your cash flow plan look like? What's coming in, what's going out, and really know what that looks like. I employ a behavior-based cash flow system. I've adopted a tool called Wooten, and that really helps a lot of my clients, a lot of the folks in our exclusive community, to be able to measure and understand what their behaviors are and make adjustments accordingly. So what we like to do, and I'm a big proponent, I love, as you can see, I like to compartmentalize. So I like buckets. And when we look at this, we're going to look at 2 buckets. So you've got your committed expenses and you've got your spendable expenses. And so the committed expenses are expenses that have very low emotional risk. So those would be expenses that pertain to your mortgage, your rent, your utilities, even subscriptions. Anything that you're doing that like it's not fixed, it's not variable, we don't go by that, or it's not wants versus needs, but it's those expenses that they happen on a consistent basis. They rarely change because of your emotions, and so they could adjust based on like your utilities, right? So if it's based on the season of the year, you use more heat or you use more electricity when you use the air conditioning unit. But those committed expenses, you want to list all those out. Then you want to list out all your spendable expenses, and those are expenses that have more of a emotional risk, because from week to week you might dine out and dine out at a very expensive place or not so expensive, or you might have to buy a gift for someone, or there's some entertainment, you want to go bowling, you want to catch a movie. Those are what we would call your spendable expenses, kind of like your lifestyle expenses. So you want to go through and really list those out. I even put groceries in there too, because those can fluctuate from week to week too. So you want to take your committed that you list out, subtract your spendable expenses from that, and whatever that number is, whatever the difference is, that is what we would call your money found. And that money found is going to help you to be able to leverage and use your money for things that are really important to you, that align with that first strategy that you completed, where you start to think about your why. Maybe you want to take a work break. Maybe you want to retire at a certain time, make work optional at a certain time, financial independence, right? Or maybe you need to buy some insurance. Maybe you need to build up your emergency fund. So the money found is going to be able to help you do that. So in our exclusive community, we have a tool that everyone gets access to so that they can discover what is a recommended spendable that they should have. And then that way they can start to really maximize their money found, because now they're staying in some parameters. And so understand, this is also a mindset shift too, because now that you have a parameter, okay, this is my spendable number. This is the max I'm gonna do every week, $250, $350 a week, whatever that number is. And now I have freedom to be able to do what I wanna do, because now I know the max or the parameters that I have to do that in. So that's that. And we can get deeper into that maybe with a masterclass or something like that. If that's something you're interested in, feel free to comment below and I'll know who's interested in something like that. So that is super duper important. But when you understand your cash flow, you become more aware. You become aware of, what am I spending my money on? Because now that I know my values, I know my why, I understand what's important to me. Maybe this expense isn't that important as you're out and about buying something, or you're on your phone and you're buying something because a new ad came up after you scrolled, or you thought about a blue dress and all of a sudden a blue dress popped up and you're like, oh my gosh, that is such a cute dress. And then you go buy it. You don't have to do that right away. And so when you understand what your boundaries are, you won't do it. And I find that more people who employ this strategy, they've told me that I don't spend as much money as I used to. I thought I needed those things, but because now I understand where my money's going, I don't need that as much anymore. It's not as important. And that's freedom. If any of this is resonating with you, please hit the like button right now. That lets me know that this is the type of information, this is the type of topics that you are here for, that you want to hear about. Now we're going to talk about number 4, which is to track your net worth. I don't know that people really understand the value of tracking your net worth. Tracking your net worth allows you to understand where things are going, how much you have in assets, how much you have in liabilities. Remember, net worth is what you own minus what you owe. So it's really important to understand, do I have appreciating assets? And how much of that is appreciating? Do I have liabilities, debts that I need to pay down, employing the debt snowball or the debt avalanche, whichever one is more important for your situation? And that number, your assets minus your liabilities, that's your net worth. And so it's really important to just monitor that and know where you stand, because those who track, they win. What you're tracking allows you to win. And then also it lets you just be more mindful of what's going on. When you have assets, you start to look at the appreciating assets and you're like, okay, I want my money to grow. How do I build that? How do I get my money to grow to a higher amount, right? And how do I make it so it increases? Another thing to consider is when you look at appreciating assets, and those would be more like stocks, bonds, stocks and, equity type investments, those types of things. There's real estate. And so those are just examples. So we won't get into all those types of examples, but your savings account, all of those types of things, you start to think about, how do you get your money working for you? In this type of environment, you're seeing things like inflation, you're seeing packaging getting smaller, but you're still paying the same amount, right? And so you want to have your assets in a position where they're growing and they have an opportunity to grow. But then you also want to have access to money immediately if necessary, so that when an emergency occurs, such as a layoff, or you have a roof that needs fixed on your house, or your car breaks down, you want to be able to get access to those funds really easily. And so that's where you want to be able to categorize the different types of assets that you have. And remember, I was talking about the small packaging, but the price is the same. That's another form of inflation. And I remember even experiencing, I think a lot of us have experienced inflation lately. Most of us have, right? All of us have, really. And so from a high level, like a 30,000 foot view, it's what was the price of a candy bar when you were younger, and what is it now? But we've experienced this just even the last 3 or 4 years. I used to buy a gallon of water and I was paying about 89 cents, and now I pay almost $1.20 for that. So it's like a 30 cents difference just in the last couple of years. So those add up over time. And so I would say every 90 days, track your net worth so that you're familiar with it. You got to be familiar with your own money and your own journey. So, and then it makes you more aware. I think that helps with your money mindset. It helps you become more confident. And now you can start to make really good money decisions. Now for number 5. So we're halfway through, and I hope this is helping you thus far. So number 5, I would say ask for a raise. I was reading an article, I believe it was called Flex Jobs is the one that wrote the article. And I'll put a link here too in the description. But in that article, it stated that 2 in 5 workers have never asked for a raise. And I understand, when I talk to a good amount of Black women in STEM, many of them have told me that one of their biggest frustrations when it comes to their wealth building journey and their peace of mind is that they feel like they've been lowballed. They think about, wow, my coworkers, I feel like they're taking trips, they're buying homes. I am not doing all those things. I feel like I am struggling, and I feel like I'm starting behind the 8 ball. And so this, we all know statistically, Black women do make less than the majority. And then Latino women and Native women. So there's a lot of different groups that make less than the majority. So with that being said, have you asked for a raise? And I know it takes boldness. Have you negotiated? Those are things to consider, because when I talked to a few of the women, they said, yeah, I didn't negotiate. Just even talking to my parents, they said, they were like, oh my gosh, this is such a great opportunity. You don't want to mess it up. So just take what they're going to give you. Just take it. And so those types of things can hurt and hinder. But at this time, in this day and age, I would say go ahead, ask for the raise. Take a chance on yourself. Now for number 6. Are you guys still with me here? I hope so. I hope this is helpful thus far. Number 6 I'm going to talk about is adding multiple income streams. I think that one of the riskiest things you can do is actually just having one stream of income. In this day and age, it's super risky. The chance of layoffs is huge. Just when we think about, even when I talk about investing, I talk about diversification, just not putting all your eggs in one basket. And I do believe that we shouldn't put all of our income sources in one basket. And so take the time, look at your talents, look at your gifts, look at things that you do that you probably don't even realize is just a skill set that people highly seek after and you can charge for. So you might want to chat with your friends, find out from them, what is it that you get help from me on? What do you think that I'm really good at? And then think about like charging for that. I have friends who are really good at organizing. Not everybody's good at that, but for them, it's just like old hat. That is stuff that you can charge for. And so, so increase and evaluate your income streams. I have a saying that I heard about years ago, and I tell people, let your 9 to 5 fund your 5 to 9. Basically meaning that your 9 to 5, you work from 9 to 5, and then you can go to work later in the evening and use that to help build your income, your extra income stream, side hustles, whatever it is. But really, really consider that. Number 7, I want you to celebrate along the way. So number 7 is keep a journal of all your wins. Now, you could do it in various ways. You can actually have a notebook and write down all your wins, everything that you're doing, big or small. Just really start to keep that. You'll be amazed. Or I've seen people, and I've considered trying this. I haven't tried it yet, but getting a jar and just when you have a win, putting it in the jar, just writing it down really quickly on a Post-it or a small piece of paper, folding it up, putting it in the jar. And then every 90 days, you can go and start reading through that. This is going to encourage you. Now, other places you could put it in your notes. I have like on my phone, I like to put my notes down. Some people, if you're at work, you can keep a draft folder like of your email in your email, like a draft email. And don't have an email address in there, and just start tabulating all your wins. This is also going to help you to ask for a raise too, because now you have evidence, you have proof, and you show that, wait, I've been doing this, and this. But even for yourself personally, it's really a great exercise, because that way you can start to see, wait, I've come from a mighty long way, right? I've been doing some things that have been helpful, and I've been doing the right things, and I am moving forward. I'm in an abundance area, and it's going to build your confidence. Number 8 is community. It's so important to stay in community. Have people around you that are like-minded, that are encouraging. And if you don't have that, find it. Network with people. Reach out to people. Go on Instagram, Facebook, find people that are in similar fields to you. I see really good Facebook groups out there. There's some LinkedIn groups. You can find it. You can find those communities that are like-minded. Some communities that I've seen is like Black Women in Science and Engineering, BWise. I've seen Sister Circle for women in tech. I've seen Black women in tech. So as you can see, there is power in community, and having like-minded people, focused people around you. They help to motivate you. They hold you accountable. There's so many wonderful reasons to build a strong community. So with that all being said, I want to invite you to join the Wealth Gap Closers community. We have a newsletter that you'll be updated and made aware of various events and various tools and resources that will become available as I share them. And I will put that in the description. And in exchange for signing up for the newsletter and joining the community, I will give you the financial wellness wheel tool. And so it's another tool to be able to do and talk about what we're talking about here. There's some topics that I'm not going to cover here in this particular video, but we're going to talk about over the course of time. But go ahead, get that financial wellness wheel, sign up for the newsletter, and join the Wealth Gap Closers community. Now for number 9. Number 9 is focus on your health. That is something that no matter how much wealth we get, if we don't have our health by the time we get there, or whatever there is for you, it just makes it less enjoyable. So take the time now to look at what your stress levels are. Take some time to really evaluate your sleep, turn off social media, exercise, go out for a walk, eat the bright foods. This is the time, now more than ever, in these changing times and with all the distractions and all the noise that's happening, take the time to look and evaluate your health. And the last one that I want to share with you is, especially for those of you who are spiritual and that you have a relationship with the Lord, I admonish you to pray. Pray. That probably should have been the first one, because I do not use prayer as something that I do last, like, oh, let me go and pray. Like, it is incorporated in my life. So I just recommend take the time to pray. I think that is so important. It connects you to your Creator. So mine is my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So I would say, go ahead, pray, because there's so much that's beyond us that we don't even know about, that we can't control. We don't know what's coming. We don't know what's going on in the background. But if you pray, you can trust that God is going to guide you into the right places and help you along the way. So those are the 10 strategies for moving through this life with these unprecedented times and these changes that are occurring that make us feel like we're not in control, especially as we are moving forward in our wealth building journey. So stay focused and use those 10 strategies to help you move through life today, especially as you are working through your goal to reach financial freedom and security. Now, if you are a Black woman in STEM and you are feeling frustrated, you're feeling stuck, maybe you feel like, I don't know where to begin, I don't know what I don't know, then reach out to me. I would love to talk to you. I invite you to a strategy session, and I would love to see how I can support you, how I can help you on your journey to financial freedom. Be sure to check out this next video where I talk about the key to happiness, amongst other topics. Thank you.